We're coming. We're coming. We're coming. Prime Sports is coming, baby.
Tell the truth.
I just need a moment to give a little more, to feel a little more before I open my eyes. It feels like I was chosen to give a little more, to feel a little more before I open my eyes. I just took the red pill. I've been moving different when they see me, watch they hate tell. If I don't get it, then the rest will. They ain't checking on a nigga, no more running on the treadmill. Please don't trip, please get a grip, yeah. I ain't scared to commit, yeah. I ain't scared to commit, yeah. I just need a moment to give a little more, to feel a little more before I open my eyes. It feels like I was chosen to give a little more, to feel a little more before I open my eyes, yeah. Before I open my eyes, yeah.
Tell the truth.
Before I open.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
What's up? What's up, everybody? This is Prime Sports. We did a little bit of rebranding, so we coming Prime Sports, playing off the Deion Sanders moniker for this channel, because this channel will be covering a lot of content centered around Prime Time, Coach Prime Time, and what he's doing at Colorado, what his sons are doing in their career. So we'll be covering, and then we'll be covering not only things around Deion Sanders, but we'll be covering issues like the one I'm going to get into this evening. Now, look, Skip Bayless, I got to be honest here. I saw this coming a mile away. It just was a matter of time before he was going to crash and burn. He's been very disrespectful. We see him on the Undisputed every damn day. He has a lot of greasy things to say about black athletes. He is very biased when it comes to Tom Brady. He just loves Tom Brady. We see him all the time arguing and back and forth with Shannon. You see Shannon there with Deion Sanders. Every time Shannon has an opinion, and that's about telling the truth.
Tell the truth.
Every time Shannon has an opinion about Tom Brady or anyone that Skip Bayless is very, how can I say, is biased about, he tries to berate Shannon on the show. And we all see it. We've seen it over the last few weeks, over the last few months. And so Damar Hamlin had a horrible situation that took place just yesterday on a Monday Night Football game with the Bills and the Bengals. And the young man was doing his job as a safety, trying to make a tackle. And they're saying that he has been a victim of a rivement in his heart because of taking the hit when he made the tackle. Now, when he made the tackle, the chest got hit and it threw the rhythm of the heart off. And all the players at that point were like, look, we can't play this game. We see Hamlin down. Damar is down on the ground, fighting for his life. as he made this hit. Now, we all know that football is a violent game, a very violent game, and anything can happen when you're playing football. This is why you've got fathers, you've got parents out here that are questioning whether they even want their kids to play football because of the danger, inherent danger that is involved. And as you see him right here, trying to make a tackle, he got up and he fell to the ground. And from what we understand, he didn't have blood getting to his brain because his heart stopped beating and they had to give him CPR, emergency. The whole thing was horrible, ladies and gentlemen, just horrible. And Skip Bayless put out some tweets that I'm going to show you that were disrespectful. I'm just going to say the whole thing was disrespectful. The NFL did the right thing by ending the game. The game was not more important than the man that was surely suffering on the ground. We saw football players crying with tears in their eyes because they saw the gravity of their teammate and a fellow football player fighting for his life. Skip Bayless has been a very insensitive character or sports personality for a long time. Now, he made some tweets that were completely disrespectful, and what he's doing now, and I'm going to play the audio on that, is that Skip Bayless is doing damage control. He came on Undisputed today, and of course, Shannon was not there. And I think Shannon has had enough of this man. According to TMZ, they're saying that Shannon Sharpe skipped the FS1 show over Skip Bayless's tweaks. It's unclear when he'll return. Now, I know that Shannon felt some kind of way because he's a football player, Hall of Famer himself. So he felt the gravity of what happened on that football field in Cincinnati just yesterday. And I'm sure he couldn't, out of respect for Damar Hamlin, he was not going to go on in the studio and go live. But Skip Bayless, who showed nothing but disrespect, he goes into the studio, wants to do damage control and say, well, people misunderstood my tweets. I heard a lot of people talking about what I wrote. Then he has the nerve to say, well, you know, I don't normally follow Twitter. And if you don't follow Twitter, what the hell are you doing even tweeting, Skip Bayless? You've been doing this for a long time. You've been tweeting, making statements, making personal statements about players. It's one thing to talk about their game, but when you're making personal statements about athletes. And so everything he did on the Undisputed today was nothing but what we call damage control, because he got a call from his boss that people were tweeting up the yin yang. I mean, they had over 100,000 tweets. You had everybody that you can name in sports tweeting back to him, commenting back to Skip Bayless about his tweet saying, you're a sick man. Let me just show you, for example, one of his tweets. So while the game was going on, Skip Bayless, this is his real tweet. And by the way, he took these down, but I got him. He says, nothing is more important than the young man's health. That's the point of my last tweets. I'm sorry if that was misunderstood, but health is all that matters. Again, everything else is irrelevant. Pray for him and we'll continue. Now, he's full of crap, because while he says that, Skip Bayless goes on to make these statements right here. I'm not exactly sure what happened to Damar Hamlin. Players on both teams are shooken. Ambulance out on the field. CPR is being administered to the young man. I can't remember play being stopped for the length of time. Just said a prayer for him and his family. Now, it comes off like he's being sensitive. But then Skip Bayless jumps in here and he says this right here. I've seen so many horrific injuries suffered on football fields, yet never have I seen a reaction like this. Even every other situation I witnessed or covered, the game always went on fairly quickly. So so basically, why people are not happy with Skip Bayless is because he spent more time being concerned about the fact that the game was stopped. He kept being concerned about the length of time that he had never seen the game be stopped like this. Okay, so he goes on to say that I've never witnessed or covered the game always went on fairly quickly. The attitude was, hey, that's football for these players. This was different. Now, he should have never tweeted this because people took it as insensitive, because he was too busy focused on the fact that, well, the NFL usually when a guy gets hurt on the field like that and gets taken off on a stretcher or gets put in an ambulance, oh, well, that's football. We're going to continue playing. The reason why people did not appreciate Skip Bayless' tweets is because of the fact that they were insensitive. He had no empathy and sympathy, and the players on the field did not care about rushing. A man is on the field damn near about to die. Nobody was caring about, let's just get on with the football game. The head office, the NFL office, decided to make the right decision. Troy Vincent, who's an ex-football player with Philadelphia, he said there's no way that the game was going to go on because of the gravity of what happened. This has never happened like this. We've never got to a point where we've seen a player potentially die on the field. Now, there have been players in the past, like Joe Theismann, who was tackled by Lawrence Taylor years ago, and he got broken legs, and they were in a panic to get the stretcher out there for him, get ambulance out there for him. But in this situation, this was life-threatening, and Skip Bayless is focused on how long is it going to take for the game to start. Now, he said this again, as I'm going to put this back up here again. I've seen many horrific injuries suffered on football fields, yet never have seen a reaction like this. In other situations, witnesses or cover the game always went on fairly quickly. This is what people were upset. And no matter what he was trying to say, it just didn't come out right. You see a man is getting CPR. You see the man is fighting for his life. The players are crying. It's serious. And Skip Bayless was more concerned about let's get on with the football game, because usually it's fairly a quick situation. Now, T.O., who's never liked Skip Bayless, T.O., who played for the 49ers, Philadelphia Eagles. He played with did he play with the Ravens? No, I think he played with Seattle for about a minute, excuse me. He said, despicable. I hope God you lose your job for this tweet. You really think the game holds more weight? This is T.O. You really think the game holds more weight than this young man's life? Dude is dead wrong for these tweets that he put out. Now, Skip Bayless is trying to say that he wasn't insensitive. He went live. I'm going to play his audio, and I watched his audio. I watched him in the studio today. Listen to the audio. You could tell that he was just doing damage control. He got up on the stand at the table of his desk as he's being, broadcast. And of course, as he said, Shannon Sharpe did not show up. And I know why Shannon didn't show up, because he didn't want to be anywhere near Skip Bayless and the embarrassment. Now, I think what happened is that the tweets that he put out didn't come off sincere to people. People didn't see it. Even when he was trying to say that he was concerned about the young man, it just did not come off sincere. That's just how people saw it. They didn't see it as sincere from Skip Bayless. And the reason why I think they didn't see it as sincere is because Skip Bayless has a history of putting his foot in his mouth and saying things that people do not appreciate. Now, on this tweet right here, he says, no doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of the game, but how's this later in the season, a game of this magnitude? And this is the tweet that I think I might have missed, that I really wanted to emphasize, a game of this magnitude. I think I don't have that one, but it's on here. This is the tweet that he said on here. It says, a game of this magnitude. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to enlarge this. This is the statement that I think really took everybody off the top. And I'm going to enlarge this piece right here. There we go. There we go. For the purpose of the program today. Here we go. This is what I think blew everyone's lid off. As he's acknowledging that the young man's life was in the balance, Skip Bayless wrote this tweet. No doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of the game, but how this later in the season, the game of this magnitude is critical to the regular season outcome, which suddenly seems so irrelevant. So he wrote this saying that them stopping the game, he was more concerned about them stopping this game on Monday night between Buffalo, New York, the Buffalo Bills, and Cincinnati Bengals, because he tweeted his focus on the implications of how this would affect the rest of the season when there's only one more game left in the season. How would it affect the rest of the season games? What would be the magnitude of this? He's so concerned about that rather than the young man who is dying, the young man who's damn near dying out there. That is what's more important, not how the lead is going to deal with figuring out this game, whether they're going to play it or whether it's not going to count, whether it's going to be a draw, whatever. You would think that Skip Bayless would have more sense than to say something like this. This is the reason why I think people really turned against the man, because of that particular portion of the tweet. Because on the one hand, he's saying I want to show my concern for the young man. But on the other hand, he keeps focusing on, well, they postponed the rest of the game, but how, he puts the question mark, how is this later, how is this late in the season, a game of this magnitude critical to the regular season outcome, which suddenly seems so irrelevant. Now, he throws that little part in there to make it seem like he's still concerned, but no doubt people jumped on him. Every athlete you can think in the world tweeted him back and said, Skip Bayless, you are sick. I think this was the main tweet that really turned people off at the end of the day. And then this whole thing about he's never seen a reaction like this. The reaction was real. It was visceral. It was horrible, as he writes here. But I think Skip Bayless just really dropped the ball. And then by him going on live on the Undisputed at Fox Sports today, that added more sugar, more salt in the wound. The fact that he had the audacity to get up there and do damage control, and then he still wanted to talk about sports and other sports. And he said, well, you guys have to forgive me if you feel this is rude of me to still want to talk about what's happening in the sports world, after he sets up there and wants to give you this buck dancing excuse about what he said or what he didn't say. But let me let you hear a little bit of Skip Bayless right now. And before I let you hear some of Skip Bayless, let me let you hear Steven Jackson, who is an ex-NBA player who's had his clashes with Skip Bayless. And this is what he had to say about Skip Bayless in all his tweets and the way the tweets just did not come out right. And here he goes.
Somebody that's been in journalism for over 40 years knows exactly what to say and how to say it. We ain't talking about an athlete that went into journalism. We talking about somebody that's been in journalism their whole life. He never was an athlete. Not once was he an athlete. So journalism is his thing, just like basketball is my thing. He knows what he's saying and when he's saying it. He's not getting no pass for this. But now everybody on his ass, now you want to come with a lame ass apology. And don't come on TV and say, we can't be insensitive to the situation. You wrote that tweet.
That's right. He wrote the tweet. He wrote the tweet. He made the decision to do that. There's nobody else to blame but himself. Let me let you see what my man Shannon Sharpe had to say right here in his tweet. Shannon said this: please keep Damar Hamlin and his family in your thoughts and prayers. The NFL does not have a manual on how to proceed after an incident like this. That's his statement. I think a very good statement. And of course, T.O. said that he believes that Skip Bayless was dead wrong for his comments. And he said he hoped for God that he loses his job at Fox Sports. I think he should lose his job. Then here's another tweet by T.O. saying this: this is the most despicable tweet ever. I would like to say I'm shocked by this tweet, but quietly freakish I'm not, because of who I know you to be. He's talking about Skip Bayless. He's talking about Skip Bayless right here. Okay? I'm not because of who I know you are to be. I hope you lose your job. This is a deeper part of his tweet. I hope you lose your job. For you, Skip Bayless, to think the magnitude of the game trumps the life of a player. In this case, the player is Damar Hamlin. It does not trump this young man's life. This young man's life is worth more than Skip Bayless's BS's. BS, and I'm going to say BS tweets. To think the magnitude of the game trumps the life of the player is inhumane. I hope Shannon Sharpe puts this in a better perspective for you, since you continue to say the most unimaginable stuff out of your radical mouth. He's telling the truth. Okay, T.O. is telling the truth. There has to be some major consequences, implications to this irresponsible ass tweet. You are a low life. That's what he said. That's T.O. as it relates to Damar Hamlin. Now, Damar Hamlin is a good brother. From what I understand right here, he has a charity or a foundation where he gets toys to kids, and that's a picture of him with a young man, a young child there, who's very happy to have a truck. So this is a brother who, when he came out of Pitt, the University of Pitt, he wasn't a high draft pick. I think he was drafted in the 6th round, and there were some that didn't think that he was going to be, you know, a major factor in the NFL. And he's been playing well for Buffalo, and he also works with the community and the youth. And so there's more to him than just him being a football player. Okay? And this is very important. This is why I think Shannon Sharpe didn't show up for the Undisputed program with the low life and the like of someone like Skip Bayless, because he knows Skip Bayless is full of shit, okay? And he also knew the gravity of the situation being very serious, knowing that this young man is fighting for his life. His life is in the balance, and Skip Bayless wants to play these games. This young man was out here playing football, trying to make a career for himself on the football field. From what I understand, he comes from a very outstanding family. And once again, when he made the tackle, They said that this was a freak situation, that it's like almost like getting hit by lightning, where when he made the tackle, the thump of the person's helmet, or the thump of the tackle that he made, it hit his heart at a particular spot when his heart was pumping, and, you know, pumping the blood through the body and pumping the blood to the heart, pumping the blood from the heart to the brain and throughout the body. And when he made the tackle, it threw off the rhythm of his heart. He had a cardiac situation, which ultimately is the reason why when he stood up for that moment, he fell down, because no blood was getting to the brain. And they were saying when that happens, blood is not getting to the parts of the body that's necessary. And his uncle and people are saying that this man might have died not once but twice, that he might have died on that football field, and then they were able to revise him, and that when he went to the hospital, he might have died one more time, and meaning his heart stopped. Not once but twice. And I'm going to show you the footage of that, of his uncle talking about that circumstances, because the uncle went to the hospital to see about his nephew. This is why Skip Bayless is getting the venom for making this asinine tweet right here. No doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of the game, but how's this late in the season a game of this magnitude critical to the regular season outcome? So focused on just the game, because they only see these football players as just, it's almost, the NFL's already, in my opinion, like a plantation anyway. Peace to everybody in the chat room listening. Skip Bayless gives off this nothing is more, and you know what I'm going to do, folks? Let's just go right ahead, and I want you to hear some of his nonsense today. Let's hear this right now.
To postpone it, yet the end of my tweet was, all of which suddenly seems so irrelevant. For the first time in the history of the NFL, my point was, it was all rendered irrelevant by what was happening on the football field in front of all those football players, those gladiators, those warriors. They were shaken to their foundations. So I immediately didn't retweet, I just clarified.
See, he wants to get into these gladiators. At that point, no, it ain't about them being gladiators. These are men playing a game, playing out their dream to play a game. But it's also a game in which one can be seriously damaged. We already have football players that retire and they're having problems with their brain. A lot of these football players don't even live that long. A lot of them die early after retiring from playing the game. This ain't about no gladiators. This ain't about no we in the Mount Olympics or we in the Roman days. This is the way he's talking. But you're going to hear him take these breaths. And when you look at the video of him, you could tell it's all phony. It's just damage control, because his bosses told him, you better make a statement.
And I'll state it again, nothing is more important than that young man's health. That was the point of my last tweet. I'm sorry if that was misunderstood, but his health is all that matters. Again, everything else is irrelevant.
If his health was all that matters, Skip Bayless, then why were you so focused on the fact that, oh, they're going to postpone this game, but what is the magnitude of this game not being played on the rest of the season and the playoffs and all this other nonsense? Oh, usually when this happens, the NFL just says, hey, you know, this is part of the game. People get hurt. We'll just move on and continue playing. He kept putting out that sort of stuff, instead of just sticking with the facts that a young man's life was in the balance. This young man's life right here, life was in the balance. But Skip Bayless, the heartless demon that he is, he couldn't help himself with all of his damn tweets. And I'm telling you, when I tell you that everybody that's everybody in sports and entertainment, they commented on Skip Bayless' stupid tweets. They came at him. I mean, they came at him fierce. And I read some of them, and they were calling him a sick man. He's lost all credibility. I don't know why. I don't know how any players, professional athletes, would even want to do an interview with him, want to be on the same stage with him, want to talk to him, have anything to do with him. And this might be the beginning of the end of Skip Bayless. But he's got no one but himself to blame for this, because he's thrown a lot of players under the bus, particularly black players in all sports under the bus. But let's continue.
I prayed for him, and I will continue to pray for him. That's what I tweeted at the end of the night. I did pray for Damar and his family. Soon after it happened, and again before I went to sleep last night, and I didn't sleep much, knowing that we did have a show that we might or might not do. So now the NFL has done exactly the right thing. They have postponed. I have no idea how they're going to make this game up, and I don't care. All that matters now.
See, this is Skip Bayless. What he's doing is he's trying to reflect or project away from the fact that he did show. If you look at all of his tweets, I've only showed you a few, but there was key little things that he was saying. There was underlying tones to what he was saying in his tweets. While he was acting like he was concerned about the young man, Damar, he kept making implications to what is the NFL going to do to continue with the game? Will the NFL stop this game? Will the NFL, all this nonsense? When the focus of the players on the field, the coaches on the field, the NFL front office in New York said, nah, we're going to end this game. This is serious. We're not playing games here. But what Skip Bayless did is he tried to turn it around and say that people misunderstood his tweets. And that main tweet that I showed you. And he's trying to play up this role that he so much cared about the young man, and that it's not really important that they play this game or what have you, which everybody already knew that, Skip Bayless. You're not telling us anything that we didn't know. You just got busted in your fuckery. And you don't like it. And you've been exposed. And I hope this leads to you eventually being let go from Fox Sports. You were over in ESPN, they ran your ass off of there. I know you and Stephen A. Smith had some issues, so they ran your ass off there. You jumped over to Fox Sports. They probably gave you a little bit more money over there. Then you team up with Shannon Sharpe, who you claim you had chemistry with, but you've done nothing but to throw Shannon Sharpe under the bus when he's had debates with you where you've tried to make him look like a fool. He had legitimate things to say about Tom Brady not playing well this year, and then you had the nerve to tell him, oh, Tom Brady's a 7-time or 6-time championship winner, as if Shannon Sharpe isn't a winner as well. Shannon Sharpe is a 3-time NFL champion. Shannon Sharpe is a Hall of Famer. Shannon Sharpe is one of the top tight ends that ever played a game, but you disrespected him because you so much want to protect your man, Tom Brady. This is why Steven Jackson made this statement about, I bet you wouldn't talk about Tom Brady like this if Tom Brady got hurt. Listen to this one more time.
You chose your words wisely. Somebody that's been in journalism for over 40 years.
Right. He's been in journalism for over 40 years. But really what Steven Jackson was saying that led him to these statements that I played earlier as well is that he said, hey, when it comes to Tom Brady, you've got no criticism of Tom Brady. If Tom Brady had been out there hurt like that, you know damn well that Skip Bayless would have never asked questions about, will the game go on? How does this affect the rest of the season? Does it put the season in balance with the other teams and all this other nonsense? He would have never said that because Skip Bayless loves Tom Brady. He's a fanboy of Tom Brady. And he will argue and disrespect even Shannon Sharpe on the show. And this is, and don't believe the hype. Shannon Sharpe did not show up today on that show with Skip Bayless only because of his feelings about Damar. But also it was because of that, but it was also because he's sick. In my opinion, Shannon Sharpe has been sick of Skip Bayless for some time, and he probably couldn't stand to be in the same room with him. He probably couldn't stand to be on the same broadcast with him talking about this issue with Skip Bayless, because I'm sure he has seen Skip Bayless' totality of those tweets that he put out that he now has gotten rid of. And he probably said, I just can't stomach sitting next to this sucker when he did what he did. Because why? Skip Bayless has never played professional football or any professional. He can damn near dribble a ball himself. But Shannon Sharpe has played professional football, so he has a kinship. He has a brotherhood with those men on that field that played yesterday. And he understands the magnitude of it, while Skip Bayless is too concerned about whether they're going to play the game. When will they play this game? How long? It's never taken this long for the NFL to stop a game. Yeah, because somebody was seriously hurt, damn near dying, or it was dying. And even when he found out that it was something serious, Skip Bayless continued to pander and act like he cared about this young man. Let me let you hear some more.
Is it that young man who had his NFL life before him, remains in critical condition?
You damn right he does.
In a Cincinnati hospital. All that matters. Way to go, NFL. Finally, we were all able to rise
once
above
again.
the game.
This is all damage control. He's adding more context to his tweets, but it's not what he said in his tweets like he's speaking now on the show when he went live. He's trying to do damage control because he got a swarm of professional athletes and celebrities and who's who that was all over his ass like butter on rice.
Tell the truth.
Game of football and how important it is in many of our lives, and say, no, this is all that matters. And now we go forward and we hope and pray that this young man can recover fairly quickly. I have no idea about his status. I'm sure maybe even during the show we'll get some updates on that status. All I know for sure is that he was in grave danger last night.
Well, hell yeah, he was.
And by the looks on the faces of both the Bills and the Bengals, they had all looked into the face of a man struggling for his life. Never happened in the history of the National Football League. Again, I've been through so much with this league. I'm old enough to go all the way back to the Kennedy assassination. JFK was assassinated on, as you recall.
So
it was.
Let me stop this here. To me, this is disrespectful again. He wants to bring up the Kennedy assassination, something that happened 100 years ago. The Kennedy assassination has nothing to do with what happened to Damar Hamlin on the football field. But he claims that he's concerned about this young man. And then he wants to project this into Kennedy. He wants you to think that, oh, he knows such pain because he remembered Kennedy being assassinated. So what Skip Bayless is attempting to do here is to get you to feel sympathetic for him. He's trying to make himself out to be the victim. He's the one that put out those negative tweets that people took as negative. And now he's trying to say, hey, I understand what happened on that field. I understand what the young man is going through because, see, once upon a time ago, when I was a young man, I witnessed or I saw or I heard about Kennedy being assassinated. So he brings a president from years ago that has nothing to do with what happened on that football field. He wants to bring you back into Kennedy to get you as the listener of his bullshit to see him as, oh, okay, he's understanding what's going on because, see, he's giving us a story about Kennedy and that gets people emotional. What he's doing is manipulating. He's being manipulative. I know the game. I know the psychology of it. Let's hear.
It was November 22nd of 1963. Pete Rozelle was the commissioner. That was a Friday.
All this is irrelevant to what his tweets were and what happened.
Grade school,
irrelevant.
Mayfair Elementary, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
It's all irrelevant. Here he goes.
5th grade, I believe.
See what he's doing here, ladies. I work in mental health. I know exactly what he's doing. So he's giving you this story about when he was a kid. He's giving you 1960. He's taking you back in a time machine that a lot of people weren't even born then. That are concerned about what was happening. A lot of these millennials were not alive. A lot of these Z generation were not alive to remember any of this stuff that he's talking about or to even know exactly. But what he wants to do is he wants to take you back to when he was a young man or when he was a kid. And so he's trying to get you to feel sympathetic for him because he's the one that effed up. So he got to get you to feel sympathetic about him as he continues to pepper, hey, I'm concerned about the young man. But this is a funny thing. Now, that's not a funny thing. Hell no. This is the damnest thing about it. The most despicable thing about Skip Bayless. He's never really given an apology to the family. He's just he's more sorry that he got jammed up. I don't think Skip Bayless is that concerned or feels as bad about what he wrote. I think he's more concerned about the fact that people jammed him up in those comments and it got back to his bosses at Fox Sports and they told him, you got to make a statement. I bet you any kind of money if nobody at Fox had said anything to Skip Bayless, he probably would have never made his apology, this statement. He thinks that he's giving an apology. What he's doing is simply playing damage control, and then he slips in there with a very sly manner of making you feel sorry for him, sympathetic for him, because he wants to bring up this story about Kennedy assassination and how old he was, and it was in the 60s, and it made me feel this way, as if he's trying to make you think that he empathizes with the family and what the NFL players are going through by telling you his trauma story. It's the biggest manipulation game. This is what Skip Bayless is doing. And I'm not going for it, and I know you're not going for it. But let's hear the more of his bullshit.
All of a sudden, Mrs. Hoover came in to our class and said, our president has been shot.
He's talking
and we should all go home.
You see what he's doing? It's a very slick technique. He's trying to get your mind off of the actual situation, which is Damar, this young man. He's trying to get your mind off of this young man right here who was fighting for his life by getting you into some damn history lesson, which has nothing to do, a president being assassinated and this young man dying damn near on the football field is two different things. And what he's talking about is ancient history. It's happened, it's been done, it's been written, it's been investigated time and time again. They've written books about the assassination, they've had movies. That's been a done deal for decades. This situation happened to this young man, Damar Hamlin. This happened to him yesterday on Monday Night Football. This is current. That's ancient damn history, Skip Bayless. but you want to out-slick us with slick talk.
And pray for him. And yet the NFL, which had games scheduled for that Sunday, opted to go ahead and play. Their premise being that the country needs us to play because the country needs some escape.
Okay, again, what Skip Bayless is attempting to do, he's talking about the fact that when Kennedy got assassinated, that at that time the president told the NFL to continue playing football games because that would help the morale of the country. You see what he's doing here? He's still focusing on football games being played. The NFL said to everyone yesterday, no game is being played. The game is over. Damar was rushed to the hospital. He's in critical condition. They're even saying that they had to turn his body upside down to help him in the treatment of getting his heart moving properly. And you're going to hear that when I bring up the video of the uncle talking about that. There was talk, but they had to move and shift his body around, that he's in the hospital laying on stomach and chest to get things flowing right. He's in critical condition. No one has said that he's in stable condition, and yet Skip Bayless wakes up in the morning of this show to give you a damn history lesson about Kennedy and to get into this talk about, well, back then they played the game. We don't give a damn about the NFL playing the game all those years ago. We're talking about the 21st century. We're in the 21st century now, where we're using better sense than they used back in those days. Skip Bayless, he's a dinosaur trying to give you a dinosaur story, damn it. Again, listen to this part.
And we should all go home and pray for him. And yet the NFL, which had games scheduled for that Sunday, opted to go ahead and play. Their premise being that the country needs us to play because the country needs some escape.
Well, Skip Bayless, I'm sorry. That was then and this is now. Nobody was talking about let's play football games to give people morale while a man is dying in the hospital. I said to you all tonight, and wherever you are in the world listening to this, in the morning, in the evening, wherever you are, that Damar Hamlin not only lost his heart beating once, but it's been reported that it stopped 2 times. On that football field where they had to revive him, and it happened again in the hospital. Let's listen to the uncle who gave a CNN interview and has been at the hospital in Cincinnati all day, all night. Skip Bayless is giving you a bedtime story about something that happened in ancient history instead of focusing on the effery of his tweets, his insensitivity of his tweets. But let me let you hear what the uncle has to say right now.
Of recovering better, so they felt that if he's sedated, his body can heal a lot faster than if he was woke and possibly cause other complications. So they got him sedated right now, and I mean, it's just heartbreaking seeing him like that, right? I mean, you know, just we were in Pittsburgh watching it on TV, and his little brother was there with us. And when he seen his brother drop like that, and when I tell you I've never seen him cry or scream like that, like we were trying to calm him down, like, yo, it's okay, you know, he'll gonna get back up, he'll be back in the game, you know, we'll do the woo. Next thing you know, it's 10 minutes later, they're doing chest compressions. It's a half hour later, they still not playing yet. I'm like, yo, what's going on? What's wrong with my nephew? And then, like, when I say, like, now we were all in the room crying, man, we were all in tears, man. And I'm not a crier, but like I never cried so hard in my life, man. Just to know like my nephew basically died on the field and they brought him back to life. I mean, that's just heartbreaking. And to see all those grown men.
Boom. Did you hear what he just said? He just said that his nephew actually died on the field and they brought him back to life. And then the same thing happened again when he was in the hospital. A lot of people don't realize. This is why when everybody kept saying, I've never seen football players crying, that's why they were crying. That's why they became emotional. They were actually watching a man die before their eyes. And what they did, as reported, is that the football players surrounded his body so that the people couldn't see what was really going on. They wanted to give him, the family and him, some dignity. That's the whole point of why they became emotional. That's the whole point why they had to stop the game. That's the reason why it doesn't matter if they play that game. It doesn't matter however, whatever the implications of it in the NFL, when a man's life is more important than a damn game. And Skip Bayless wants to give you a history lesson about what happened to Kennedy and how the country played football, because his mindset is still on, hey, maybe the game should still go on. And then everything about what you heard him say was part of his damage control speech to get ahead of things, because the bosses at Fox Sports told his ass, Skip, you got to get out there and give a statement. You got to do damage control. You got everybody in America all over you, tweeting you, saying how much they think you're a sick man. You got every top athlete in the business tearing you down on your tweets. Let's get back to the uncle.
Crying and all the emotion, man, it really was a gut punch, man. And I would have been crying no matter who it was, but for it to be my nephew, it had that much more impact on me, man. And I'm just glad he's still alive and able to fight and trying to get better and recover.
You told me off camera your nephew died twice. Can you explain?
Well, his heart had went out, so they had to resuscitate him twice. They resuscitated him on the field before they brought him to the hospital, and then they resuscitated him a second time when he got to the hospital. So
you hear that?
I just want to show my gratitude for the medical staff that were on hand, because if not for them, my nephew probably wouldn't even be here.
You hear that, folks? Did you hear what he just said? He said that his nephew died not once but twice, meaning his heart went out. A lot of people didn't know that. This is serious. This is why the players on the field, I'm going to say it again, this is why they were emotional. They were stressed out. They were crying because they seen something that they have never seen in their life, and maybe never seen on a football field in their life. And that does something to people. See, it wasn't the best time for someone like Skip Bayless to start writing these tweets where he's getting into these philosophizing questions about whether the game is going to be played, continued. And, well, the NFL, usually when this happens in the past, the NFL would do this and the NFL would do that. Nobody cared about what the NFL protocol was 10, 20, 30 years ago. No one cares, Skip Bayless, about whether they would normally play and say, hey, it's football. Nobody thinks like that anymore. You know why? Because we live in a time where we have science, we have doctors, and players are more educated about their health, and the game and those involved in the game are more aware of head-on collisions can do. And now we're finding out that you can put a helmet in someone's chest as they're tackling you or as you're trying to run them over, and it could thump in the right part, wrong part of the chest, and maybe affect your heart. This is the reason why you have fathers today, and you have mothers who are questioning whether they should let their kids play football. And I gotta be honest right now, too often this is happening to black athletes. The majority of players in the NFL are black. So the majority of athletes in football that are having these head injuries and are having these type of injuries, it's us, because we're playing the game. And the question is, does anybody really give a damn? I make this argument before I end this broadcast that Skip Bayless was able to be insensitive because at the end of the day, nobody cares about black life. Black life has no value in American society. People don't see us as value. And therefore, he can afford to be trivial. He can afford to be casual with his tweets, not give a damn. he can afford to sit up here and say, I wonder if they're going to play this game, because, you know, the NFL usually plays the game after someone gets hurt. He can afford to be casual like that because he's a white man who feels that he's white and he can say whatever he wants to say, no problem. I'm white and I say so. People don't want to hear me say that, but that's the truth. That's why he's disrespectful to Shannon Sharpe. When Shannon Sharpe's on the show with him, he tries to dismiss the things that Shannon Sharpe says, diminish what he has accomplished as a NFL football player while he props up Tom Brady, who he just loves and adores. This is the BS called Skip Bayless. That's why I put on the thumbnail that Skip Bayless should be fired. And all these athletes, if they, in my opinion, they should all rally together to make sure that it happens. And I'll leave you with this. He has not apologized to the family. He simply just waxed poetically about some history about Kennedy and how much he knew that it was a serious situation with the young man here. But he hasn't really come out and apologized to the man's family for the tweets that he put out personally. That shows you the character, or the lack of character, of the man. And this is the damn
Tell the truth.
Truth. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the program tonight. This is We Coming Prime Sports. And I'm going to touch on everything, not just touch on things around Deion Sanders as his coaching career, but we're going to touch on issues like this that come up in sports. This is a brand new channel, so I will be broadcasting on this channel whenever I can, putting out content. I know how to build a channel. When I put my mind to it, I know how this works. And I appreciate you all out there. If you like the content so far, go ahead and I want to say thank you for watching. Like and comment on this video. Subscribe to the channel. I definitely would appreciate that, because
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
and I definitely appreciate that. Everybody have a great night, a great day, a great morning wherever you are. Share the video. We'll be back for more to this Prime Sports, because like Deion Sanders says right here, we coming, and we're coming on this channel little by little by little to grow the channel. Y'all take care out there, in peace.
I just need a moment to give a little more, to feel a little more before I open my eyes. It feels like I was chosen to give a little more, to feel a little more before I open my eyes. I just took the red pill. I've been moving different when they see me, watch they hate tell. If I don't get it, then the rest will. They ain't checking on it.
Tell the truth.
Running on the treadmill. Please don't trip. Please get a grip, yeah. I ain't scared to commit, yeah. I ain't scared to commit, yeah. I just need a moment to give a little more, to feel a little more before I open my eyes. It feels like I was chosen to give a little more, to feel a little more before I open my eyes, yeah. Before I open my eyes, yeah.
Tell the truth.
Information is power.